Ever heard of Lala Shri Ram?
Can't say I have.
Yeah, he's not exactly a household name, but
Okay.
this guy built an empire.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of empire?
DCM, they called it.
DCM.
It's huge, practically a household name in India for decades. We're going deep into his life story today. Trust me, it's full of twists and turns,
Sounds like a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, and the thing about Lala Shri Ram is he didn't start with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Oh, so he was a self-made man.
Completely. Started from scratch, pure grit and resilience. Ended up leading the fourth largest business group in India at its peak.
Wow, impressive.
We're going to trace his journey, see how his early experiences shaped his leadership style.
Especially his approach to labor relations,
That's what I find fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Pre-independence India?
Right.
Not exactly known for progressive labor practices.
That's an understatement.
But before we get there, let's rewind.
Okay, back to the beginning.
His childhood. Grew up in Old Delhi in a neighborhood called Kuchamai Das.
Kuchamai Das.
His family has seen its share of upheaval, His grandfather actually had to flee Delhi during the 1857 mutiny, disguised as a villager.
Wow, talk about a dramatic family history.
Definitely sets the stage for resilience, but within that context, Shri Ram's childhood was actually marked by loneliness.
Really?
He was a frail kid, couldn't really join in with the other boys.
Oh, I see.
And that isolation seems to have fostered a deep empathy in him. It's fascinating how those early experiences might have shaped his later approach to business and people.
The early years, they really do impact us, don't they?
Absolutely. And even as a child, he was already showing signs of ingenuity. There's a story about him trying to redesign an oil lamp.
An oil lamp?
He thought it wasn't giving off enough light.
So even as a kid, he was already a problem solver.
Who knew that little tinkerer would one day be running massive factories? And whole industries, too.
Right. But his path to success, it wasn't a straight climb. He had to overcome a series of setbacks early on. He had to drop out of college, struggled to find a job.
Really?
Even had a couple of businesses fail.
Businesses.
A stationery venture with a friend, and a cotton ginning factory.
Wow. Most people would have thrown in the towel after that.
But for Shri Ram, those failures were actually crucial learning experiences. The stationery business taught him about customer relationships and managing suppliers.
So he was picking up valuable lessons, even from his failures.
Exactly. And the cotton ginning factory, even though it failed, gave him first-hand experience with running a mill and understanding the cotton market.
Okay, so he's got this varied experience, but how does he get involved with DCM?
Well, it's interesting. His father, Madan Mohan, was a key figure in DCM, but Shri Ram didn't just waltz in as the founder's son.
Oh, he didn't just get handed a cushy position?
Nope, he started as a regular employee.
Wow, that's humbling.
And at that time, DCM wasn't doing so well. It was struggling, needed fresh ideas.
So Shri Ram enters the picture.
And his meticulousness and work ethic stood in stark contrast to his father's more laid-back style.
Almost sounds like a clash of personalities brewing there.
It definitely added another layer to their relationship. But then, something happens that changes everything.
Oh, what's that?
World War I breaks out.
Talk about a turning point in history.
It throws the world into chaos, but Shri Ram, he sees opportunity. The army suddenly needs a massive number of tents, and Shri Ram steps up with a brilliant strategy.
Okay, here's where it gets interesting. What did he do?
He knew DCM's own production capacity couldn't meet the demand.
So what did he do?
He focuses on supplying yarn to other manufacturers.
Smart move.
He leverages his network, partners with a friend, Dibon Chand, who had strong connections in the army, and secures huge orders.
So he wasn't just thinking about DCM.
No.
He was helping others succeed too.
And this is where his unique approach to labor relations starts to come into play.
Okay, tell me more about that.
While other factories were dealing with strikes and unrest, Shri Ram focuses on improving the working conditions at DCM.
I bet that raised some eyebrows at the time.
He installed exhaust fans for better ventilation, introduced a productivity-linked incentive scheme, even set up worker welfare programs. He understood, maybe from his own childhood experiences, the importance of feeling valued and cared for.
That's fascinating. So he's navigating World War I, DCM's doing well, workers are happy.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd just kick back and relax, right?
Not Shri Ram. This guy had this restlessness in him.
Oh, yeah.
Always driven to explore new horizons. He wasn't content with just textiles,
So what was next? What did he set his sights on?
Well, in the 1930s, India was hit by a sugar shortage.
A sugar shortage?
Yeah. And Shri Ram, always the opportunist, saw a chance to diversify. That's how Lala Sugar Works was born.
Okay, so another industry, another success story. I mean, this guy just had a knack to it, right?
Well, it wasn't just luck.
No.
He had this sharp business sense and a management style that really set him apart.
Okay, so tell me about that. What was so special about his management style?
Let's take the acquisition of Bengal Potteries as an example.
Bengal Potteries?
It was a struggling ceramics company.
Oh.
Riddled with quality issues, labor problems, the whole 9 yards.
Most people would have steered clear. What did he see in that?
He saw potential. He wasn't afraid of a challenge, believed in turning things around. And his philosophy of worker goodwill was at the heart of his approach.
So he tackled the problems head on.
Oh, yeah. He knew that happy workers meant better products.
It's like he understood the human element of business better than most.
Absolutely. And he wasn't just some distant CEO,
No.
issuing directives from an ivory tower.
So he was hands-on.
Totally. There's a story about him examining bathroom fixtures.
Bathroom fixtures?
Yeah, found them substandard.
Really?
Push for improvements, bigger, better designs, efficient flushing mechanisms, the works.
Wow, he really rolled up his sleeves and got involved. So how does the Usha sewing machine fit into all this?
Well, that's another great example of Shri Ram's hands-on approach and his eye for talent.
Oh.
He had this amazing ability to spot potential, not just in products, but in people. He met this engineer, Bishandas Basi.
Bishandas Basi?
Yeah, and Bishandas had created this revolutionary new sewing machine.
Wait, so the Usha sewing machine, the one practically in every Indian home?
The very same.
Wow.
Bishandas was the inventor, the brains behind it, but he didn't have the resources to scale up production.
I see.
Shri Ram saw the potential. This machine was a game changer. He provided the backing that led to the creation of J Engineering Works.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
The Usha sewing machine became a household name.
A symbol of innovation and progress. It's amazing how Shri Ram could bring together talent and resources, create something truly impactful.
Totally. So we've got World War I, sugar business, ceramics, sewing machines. This guy's unstoppable.
But then India gets its independence in 1947, new landscape, new challenges. What role does Shri Ram play in this new India?
He becomes a key figure in shaping India's economic policies. He was actively involved in FTSE, the leading business organization, and even contributed to the Bombay Plan.
The Bombay Plan? What's that?
It was a visionary roadmap for India's economic development. Imagine this, a group of leading industrialists and economists coming together to create a blueprint for a modern, industrialized India. It was a bold vision, full of ideas about infrastructure development, industrial growth, and social progress.
So he wasn't just building businesses.
No, he was thinking about the nation as a whole.
A true nation builder.
But amidst all these achievements, life threw him some curveballs, some real tragedies.
Oh, what happened?
First, he loses his wife, Fool and Debbie, in a fire accident. Devastating blow. A few years later, another tragedy strikes.
What was that?
His brother and eldest son are killed in a plane crash.
Oh, that's terrible. To lose your wife, your brother, your son, all within a few years, it's heartbreaking.
It really is. It's a reminder that even the most successful individuals are not immune to life's cruel twists of fate.
Yeah.
And these tragedies really bring into focus the complexities of family businesses.
Right, because he was a champion of family businesses, but his own family going through this unimaginable loss, how did that impact him?
Well, it's interesting. Even as he was grappling with the personal grief, he was also thinking about the future of his businesses, about succession and legacy.
Okay.
He formally retired from DCM in 1958.
But he didn't really stop working.
Never truly stopped. He had this incredible drive, this sense of duty. He even took on the leadership of Sindri Fertilizers.
50 fertilizers.
It was a struggling government-run venture at the time.
So he went from running successful businesses to trying to fix a government enterprise. Why?
He saw it as a challenge, a way to contribute to the nation's development. And he wasn't just a figurehead. He dove right in, streamlined operations, boosted production. He actually turned the company around.
That's impressive. But what about his own businesses? The ones he built from the ground up? What was happening with those?
That's where things get complicated. His two surviving sons, Paratram and Trapdram, they had different personalities, different ambitions.
Okay.
And this difference in vision ultimately led to friction, to the eventual division of the DCM group.
So the empire that he built, the legacy he envisioned, it fractured.
Yeah, it did. It's a story you see play out, in many family businesses, especially as they grow, get more complex. Maintaining that unity, a shared vision across generations, it's incredibly challenging. But before we jump to the conclusion, there's this one interesting twist.
Another twist.
Remember the hostile takeover attempt on DCM back in the 1980s?
Wait, someone tried to take over DCM?
Yeah, this businessman, Saraj Paul.
Saraj Paul.
He saw an opportunity, to gain control of this massive conglomerate.
So what happened?
High-stakes battle, the Shri Ram family fighting tooth and nail to protect their legacy.
Did they manage to fend him off?
They did. They repurchased the shares, retained control.
So they won?
They did, but the fight, while it brought the family together, momentarily, it also exposed some underlying vulnerabilities.
I see.
and probably even deepened the rift between the brothers. It was a victory, but a costly one.
A turning point.
Yeah, the differences between Shriram and Shriram, they just became irreconcilable. And just a few years later, 1989-90, the DCM group was formally divided.
So the empire that Lala Shri Ram built piece by piece, it was split. 3 separate entities, each controlled by a different branch of the family. That's kind of sad, isn't it?
It is, in a way. It really highlights the fragility of even the most successful family enterprises. But it also makes you think, about legacy, what it really means.
Yeah, what does it mean to build something that lasts?
Right. Is it about one giant structure, or is it about the values, the ideas, the impact, things that resonate even after the original structure is gone?
I like that. Thinking about legacy as something more than just bricks and mortar. So how do we remember Lala Shri Ram? What's his lasting impact?
Well, the DCM group, it might have fragmented, but his influence on Indian industry, undeniable. He was a pioneer, a visionary.
Yeah.
He showed the world that you could be successful in business, but still treat your workers fairly, with respect, with dignity.
He was ahead of his time. His focus on worker welfare, his belief in education, his ability to spot opportunities and adapt. There are valuable lessons there. For anyone.
Absolutely. A remarkable individual, left an indelible mark on India's business landscape.
So there you have it, the story of Lala Shri Ram. Started with nothing, built an empire, faced incredible challenges, personal tragedies, ultimately left a legacy that continues to inspire. What are your thoughts? What resonated with you the most about his journey? Share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this deep dive with your friends on Book Reviews 1. We'll be back with another fascinating deep dive soon.